Okay, day 356. Here they are again. Maybe it's Raul Abbas. Maybe Raul Speedwagon Abbas. Maybe this is your day. I don't know if he's up there or not. But anyway, so here's the deal. This is going to be a little bit complicated, so bear with me. What we're having to do now is move from the criminal case against Imran Awan now to the civil case. And very important, to have a right to sue, you have to have what they call standing. I need to be standing on a metal grate in this case. That's what's giving this resonant quality to my voice. You have to have standing in order to sue. If you are over there and this grate falls through, you saw it happen, it traumatized you, but you don't have standing. But I do have standing, and I fall straight through and I break my leg, okay? That's the idea. It means that you're materially involved in the case, okay? Well, in this case, it's the American people. And especially if you've ever called or written a letter or had a meeting with anyone in Congress, okay? That's going to be the key. If you have a Democratic congressman or congresswoman, that's probably going to be even more important because the Democratic caucus server was compromised. But I believe the whole system for managing the contacts of people writing letters or calling on the phone or sending emails or whatever, the whole system is called iConstituent. iConstituent. Now, that system, I went 4 months ago and made sure that I logged a call with Devin Nunes so that I would be in iConstituent and I would have standing if we ever came to a civil case. And it turns out today we do. I'm going to explain how. The company that markets iConstituent is iConstituent, and the company that they were before was called Inter-American. And that one is the one that goes all the way back to 2000. And guess who employed Inter-American and then iConstituent he's worked on ever since? Imran Awan, the last 17 years. Now, he was barred from this network this February. On February 2nd, they said, hey, you're doing wacky things. You're barred from the network. 2 months later, he was in an office booth, in a phone booth in one of the office buildings right over there called Rayburn, and he was making illegal copies of the White House system. He was in that congressional server, that caucus server. Now, we don't know if he moved it off-site. We don't know if that server went to Hawkshead Drive or if it went to Lynette Drive. Those two are very close to each other. We know Raul Abbas lives at Lynette. We know that Imran Awan was at Hawkshead. We don't know where the server went to. But we now think that the server was here in the building and then got moved off-site, maybe to Hawkshead, maybe to Lynette, which is very close, where Raul Abbas, REO Speedwagon Abbas was, okay? So the key here is they have your data. When that theft occurred, what I call the John Wilkes phone booth, when that phone theft occurred, they took everything on those servers. And I believe also the iConstituent data was taken. Now, the reason why that's important is if you have a certain concern, let's say the EPA is really getting on me for having a little lake on my farm. Well, that tells somebody, if you want to use the government against somebody, that says, we got to go after this guy now. We know that he's got this problem on this lake. He's willing to call Congress. Let's really go crack down on him, and then he'll offer us something in return, pay to play, for us not to crack down on him. There's a million different examples. For instance, if your son was ever honored in the armed forces, that sounds like a great thing. You know, he came to Washington, or your child came to Washington because they were a part of some kind of a fund drive to collect for veterans. But in the hands of people who don't like Americans and think Americans deserve to have revenge against them for the war in Afghanistan and Pakistan, and these conspirators are putting up lots of photos of people in hospitals, children in hospitals wounded by American attacks, those could become target lists. Those could become target lists for people who had ill intentions. So even the most innocuous things, if you came up here to, let's say, honor some veteran over the last 15, 16 years of this Afghan war, you could also be on the list. That data was not only stolen in April, but then also the prosecutor here in the DC district, the DC District Federal Court, Channing Phillips, along with Mirando, the prosecutor, gave a copy, made sure that the copy, the image of that laptop, was given back to the defense. So if they didn't get it all before, if they didn't make all the hard drives appropriately, and they didn't make all the thumb drives, the prosecution made sure they had an image. Now this was data illegally taken. This is data illegally taken in April, on April the 15th or 16th, right around tax day. I don't know if that was the timing, but maybe no, April the 10th, excuse me, because I was here April the 6th. So that occurred April the 6th. Sorry. So the key here is that everyone in America's data has been stolen. It now resides in the hands of somebody who spends at least 3 months a year in Pakistan, who's sending terabytes of information to Pakistan. Now, it may be that he's just trying to build business for Pakistan in terms of DHS programming projects and Coast Guard programming projects and Customs and Border Patrol programs, but you have to compete legally. You can't hack and steal other people's business to win. That's the key point here. We don't know yet all the answers, but we are going to file what's known as a notice of spoliation, which means don't destroy anything. We intend to sue to find out. We intend to sue to discover. The spoliation notice says don't spoil anything, basically. Don't do a Hillary and delete stuff. That's what the spoliation notice means. And then also an intent to file. Now, a lot of people are going to say, George, why don't you work through Judicial Watch? If people have been following my series, the first 300 days of this series, I took no money. I did no Patreon, no Venmo, nothing. I didn't do any monetizing on YouTube, nothing. And I came to Washington in April on that same trip to visit Judicial Watch. And I just went upstairs and I just wanted to say hi to somebody, and they wouldn't give me the time of day. They would not give me the time of day. And I said, I don't understand. I got 40,000 followers. I only recommend money given to you guys. I don't understand. So I was quiet about that until yesterday. Yesterday, Tom Fitton of Judicial Watch presented with Luke Rosiak, who I think has been kind of giving us his story in an eyedropper form over a long period of time, and a guy named Pat Sowers. Pat Sowers used to work for iConstituent. Pat Sowers used to work for iConstituent as a VP of sales. He was not a whistleblower. He's a fake whistleblower. The thing that was done yesterday was a show. He is a fake whistleblower. There's 3 people up there that work at the CAO office, the Chief Administrator's office, that were threatened by Debbie Wasserman Schultz if they didn't give top secret clearance to Imran Awan. One of those 3 people should have been at that inquiry yesterday. It was a sham. It was a fake. Now, I don't know. I'm not saying Luke was complicit. I'm not saying Judicial Watch was complicit, but somebody put Pat Sowers at that table. Pat Sowers is a fake whistleblower. He's not a whistleblower. He's obviously not an IT person anyway, because he thinks one document is a gigabyte. So as soon as I saw that, I said, I have to go around Judicial Watch now. As you know, we've prepared many motions up to this point. We've perfected the motion 3 different times now. We are 90% done with the motion, which now is going to turn into a class action lawsuit, which you can participate in because you have standing. If you ever called here since 2000, ever raised an issue, ever attended an event, a campaign event in your hometown, you ever given any money to your local politicians since 2000, you have standing in this case. We're going to present a class action lawsuit. Now, what's important is Judicial Watch is trying to run in front of the parade here, and they want to kind of get in front, and once they get control of the parade, once they're named as the lead, they call it the lead. Once you're named as the lead in class action lawsuit, everybody has to kind of follow in behind you. It's kind of like organizing a parade. You have to fall in now behind the Grand Marshal. We don't want to do that because we don't want, for instance, I'm not going to go into the Andre Taggart thing, but I had the Andre Taggart out there 120 days, the key U.S. Marine that said Imran had drives, government drives, and government Blackberries at his home, as well as the laptops with government markings. 3 different investigative bodies. It took 120 days for Luke to break that story. I'm not going to leave this to Luke, and I'm not going to leave it to Judicial Watch, and I'm certainly not going to leave it to Pat Sowers. That's for damn sure. So the bell is tolling. That tells me it's time for who the bell tolls. I don't know if we're going to be able to get the spoliation notice to the Sergeant of Arms today. We're going to try, and we're going to try to get the intent to file to him today.